Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good evening. Okay. So let us begin. For today, we are going to look at the next topic on how to write a good problem statement. Okay. For the last 2 weeks, we have already looked into the best practices on how to organize, to plan, and to monitor your research progress. Okay, but now we are going to zoom in for to write a good problem statement. In terms of the learning outcomes, there are few learning outcomes that are going to be covered at the end of this session. It won't take long, probably half an hour to 40 minutes. So at the end of this session, you should be able to define the problem statement. Okay, so there are many definitions, but we will look into a few that probably that best represent what is a problem statement, and then we will able to identify the key components of a statement, and then you also should be able to explain the criteria of a problem statement, right? And then, of course, discuss the role of problem statement in terms of when you need it for your thesis, you need it for your paper or your dissertation. So we will look at the role of problem statement, all right? And then distinguish the sources of problem statement, and finally, you be able to write a good problem statement. Okay, so I will suggest a technique that probably you can apply to in order for you to write a good problem statement. So what is a problem statement? Right? So you may find in many literature, many research methodology notes stating what is a problem statement. Basically, it is the description of an issue currently existing which needs to be addressed. So the problem that you want to address in your study, right? And it will provide the context for the research study, and it generates the questions which the research aims to answer. So from a particular problem statement, you can then write a research question. What are the issues all about? Where is it coming from? How are you going to solve it? So many of the research questions can be derived from a good problem statement, right? And at the same time, a problem statement is the focal point of any research. Remember, you have written your general title, okay? And then you also have written your project title. You have your subject under study, you have your problem, the P, and then your achievement and methodology. So the problem that you stated in your project title can now be expanded in a sentences that will be the focal point of any research, of your research. And a good problem statement is just one sentence. I can see many students, when we ask them to write the problem statement, they end up to write 2 paragraphs or maybe 2 pages, 2 pages of problem statement. They don't know where to start, they don't know how to stop. So basically, a good one, it is only one sentence, right? So how to do that? I will try to teach you on the steps that how to write a good problem statement in just one sentence. And then a problem statement also should be accompanied by a few paragraphs. Some students said, Prof. Rahim, the problem statement is not just one sentence. It is consists of one paragraph. Yes, it is one paragraph, but the problem is just only one line, right? And then the following paragraph are just to elaborate the problem, probably to put some facts to support that, yes, that particular issue is a problem, all right? So we will see a few examples later on. And then the paragraphs that supporting the or elaborating the problem could cover the present persuasive argument. You may say that, oh, some researchers say that this is happening, but the other researchers contradict the points. So it is a contradicting issue where you come in and try to find a solution, try to offer a solution. Okay, so that make the problem important enough to study. So the the reason why we want to have the problem statement is basically just to make sure that the problem is genuine. Okay, there is an issue that you come in your study to solve it, right? And then there are cases that, oh, there's no problem, I just would like to expand the research. Actually, expanding the research also actually you are contributing, or you are solving the problem, because probably in earlier work the researchers only do some parameters, maybe up to certain point, and then you come in and try to expand the research. There's no problem with the result, but you may want to say that, oh, nobody do that, and you want to expand the research so that the result would be expanded. Okay, that is actually, it sounds not a problem, but it's actually solving the problem where there's no enough data in the particular area. All right, we'll see in more detail when we come into example. Key components of a problem statement. There are three key elements. And what are the key elements of a problem statement? The first one, the problem itself stated clearly and with enough contextual detail to establish why is it important. So that's the first key element. And the second element is that the method of solving problem often stated as a claim or a working thesis. Later I will explain clearly what do we mean by that. And then the purpose, basically statement of objective and scope of the project being proposed. So the three elements of the problem statement basically encompass these items. So it is where you have the three element. The first one is the problem itself, okay, and then you have the method of solving it, and the objective and the scope of work. So basically, when you write a problem statement, it will consist of these three elements. All right, so you have what is the issue that you want to solve, and then maybe you will say that how is it going to be solved, through either through simulation or experiment, or the method that you want to use, and then the objective and the scope. So these are the key components of the problem statement, right? Probably some people say that I just normally put a problem statement, just the problem. This is the problem, and then the method is a method in a different paragraph, and objective in the different paragraph. But it is not. It is actually a combination of the three elements. The three elements, which is include the problem, the method, the objective, and as well as together with the scope. And those are the elements of the problem statement. What are the criteria? Okay, the criteria of a good problem statement, it should clearly indicate what is to be investigated, right? And then the actual statement may be in a declarative or in a question form, right? So you may throw a question, for example, like why there is still an issue of water pollution in Selangor. So you are throwing a question where by reading that we know that, oh, you would like to solve the problem in Selangor in terms of water pollution. And then the statement should indicate the variables of interest and the specific relationship between the variables that are to be studied. So some of the criteria for a problem statement, we include the parameters, the design parameters, probably the performance parameters that involved in the problem itself. So these are the criteria. So that before this, we have the elements of the problem statement. So the criteria of the problem statement basically just to strengthen in terms of what is needed to be a strong problem statement, right? And then we would like to see the role of problem statement, because earlier in the beginning of this session I said that you also need to know when to use the problem statement and how to use it in your dissertation, in your project, as well as your paper. So the role, it will provide the context of the research study. So that's the main purpose of having a problem statement. Because if you do not have a the problem statement, even though you don't put it as a title, this is the problem statement. No, you may write it maybe in the abstract, as well as the normally it is in the beginning of the abstract, and you have a general statement, introduction, and then the issues involved. You don't state this is the problem statement for my research is this. It's not like that. So it's just a general statement, but it sounds that yes, people will know, oh, this is the problem. Okay, this is the item you want to investigate. All right. So, and it also being strengthened further in the end of the introduction section. Okay, later when you come into your assignment to write your literature review paper, you will find out that, okay, where do you want to state the full problem statement item. And then it will generate questions which the research hopes to answer. So basically, from a problem statement, you can later write down a few research questions, right? Maybe research question number 1, research question number 2, research question number 3, and so on. And further to that, you will use your problem statement to and your research question to identify the hypothesis, the assumption, what will happen if you do this, right? So later when you write your hypothesis, you will relate back to the problem statement, because that's why I said problem statement is the heart of the study, and it should hook the reader. Okay, so and establish a persuasive context for what follows. So by having a good or a very clear problem statement, it will like a bonus or a motivation for the reader to read further. All right, if they couldn't find what is the issues all about, they will say that, oh, there's no problem, there's no issue being highlighted. Suddenly there are results, suddenly there are methodology, there are findings, but it is not clear why is it in the first place you want to do this, what are the motivation behind it. Okay, so it should hook the reader and establish a persuasive context for the whole thesis or the whole paper. And it would provide answers to what is the problem and why is the problem worth your attention. Okay, so that's why you have to write a good problem statement. That's among others the role of a problem statement. Right. Maybe some student will ask, okay, where does a problem originate from? Okay, is it coming from reading, from literature review, or looking at issues that happening in front of your eyes? Okay, so it can come from many sources, right? For example, like you may have conducted a literature review, okay, from 100 of papers, then there is a gap of study, gap in the knowledge. Okay, so the gap in the knowledge basically stated that, oh, there is a need to further study this in terms of having a new material, having a new approach, having a new design parameters. Okay, that probably a cause for the or the source for the problem statement. Okay, let us see one by one. So the problem statement may originate or may come from research questions formulated out of observation of the reality. So probably from a literature review or a review paper. From a review paper, some researcher will review many things. From there, they will put out a few questions. So from the research question there, it can trigger a good problem statement because it's already justified. There is already being investigate and analyze. So these are the recommendation for further study. So that are the probably some of the source of the problem statement. And it can come from literature review and study of previous experiments as well as results. It also what should be occurring and what is occurring in the current scenario, and what could happen if the problem is not addressed. For example, like the water problem, water pollution in Selangor. Is it that what could happen if we do not address the issue? Obviously, there will be more problem in the future. There will be more water pollution. There will be more water disruption. So many people will not be happy, right? So there is issues can come from in front of your eyes. Issue can come from literature review. Issues can come from many other sources. Common source of a problem statement, it may come from your own personal experience, right? Probably maybe you are cooking at home using a certain pan or cooking utensil. So there are issues where maybe the food is stick on the pan, or the pan is it hits quickly. It's not very difficult to control. So you know that there's something can be done. Maybe having a coated or a ceramic pan, or you introduce different type of heating so that your food is not burned. So it is coming from your own experience and interest of researchers that may trigger the problem. Okay, and various theories in the discipline of the researchers can also trigger problems. Related literature as well as literatures from one's own area of interest. I believe some of you already have a read on many literature now, and you find out that many contradicting, maybe some supporting ideas to findings from other researchers. So it can trigger research questions that can relate to end up to become a problem statement. And a reproduction of past research studies. So some researchers, when they want to try to find a problem statement, maybe they will rerun simulation, for example. Okay, by rerunning a simulation, having the same parameters, the same boundary condition, they end up maybe getting a different result. Right? By having that different result, it must be there's issue behind it. Okay, why is it that you run the same parameters, the same boundary conditions, suddenly you get a different result? Okay, and maybe you are using different software or different approach. Okay, and then you get a new problem statement, or you redo the experiment. Okay, because some researchers, they don't put in detail the procedures, and maybe they on purpose they leave something behind. Okay, actually it is non-ethical to do that way. Basically, you have, whenever you want to write a methodology, the purpose of having the methodology so that other people can replicate the result and compare with your own. So a reproduction of past research studies can also be a common source of a problem statement, right? Now, we're coming to how to write the problem statement. Of course, if you want to look into the more definition, the philosophy of behind problem statement, there are so many articles, so many books that you can refer to. Please do not limit to what I'm sharing. Maybe you want to further explore in terms of knowing what is actually a problem statement. But more interesting, basically, I would like to see how you write the problem statement. Okay, establishing a research problem can be very challenging. Okay, yet rewarding process. So uh, some of you maybe feel that, oh, we do not have to write in detail the research problem, we leave it in at the end. Maybe after we got some results, we will try to think what is actually the real problem. So it's not the way to do a proper research. If you refer back to the K chart, even you have to think about what is actually you want to study. Okay, even in the title already, we have to trying to establish what is actually the problem, and then you then write your problem statement. Okay, careful selection of the research problem defines the work of the project and provides a direction for the entire process. All right, so it is not just a statement that you write for the purpose of having a thesis, but the problem statement is the heart of your study. If you get it wrong, you will get the objective wrong. You will get the objective wrong. The methodology wrong, and then the results wrong. Okay, a whole thesis can be rejected. Okay, if you state the wrong problem statement, because everything will be wrong. Everything will be haywire. Right? That's why it is very important. And establishing your research problem usually consists of distinct phases, okay, such as these are the distinct phases where we have the first one, we have the research topic, okay, where you establish your title, okay, title of the project, and then the research problem, okay, the research problem come into second, and then you write the problem statement, okay, and then it is related then into the research design, and finally the research proposal. Okay, later you're going to do all of that, okay, we will time to time we relate back to K chart, how the K chart can help you to establish your problem statement by having these 5 steps. Right, let us go look into the step number 1, research topic. Yeah, you in K chart, right, you start with a general title, right? So basically, you will select a broad area of interest, a research topic. Like example I used before, at the the performance of the vehicle. So just a vehicle. So that is the you want to see the performance of a vehicle, or the vertical garden. Okay, that is a broad area of interest. And then example here, cost of farming. You want to look at the cost of farming, the strategy or the sources. It can come from your personal interest. You may come from your reading, literature review. You may also conduct an interview with farmers, conversation with farmers, etc. So establishing a broad area of interest. So if you look back at the K chart, it is basically the general title, right? All of you have should have already find your general title, and then because you have to submit next week, right? And then research problem. To move from topic to a manageable research problem, ask question about the topic such as who, what, where, when, and why, and the 5W and 1H. Okay, and then for example, and if we look at the cost of farming just now, what are the issues in the cost of farming, right? What is being done to control cost of farming? What factors are responsible for price increase? How effective are institutions in controlling farming costs, right? So those are the thing that you may ask, because later you are going to write the problem statement, because from all of these questions, right? So from asking uh, um, things that it will relate back later on to establish a good problem statement. Okay, the strategy or the sources, you may read abstract of literature for overview. You make observation. Okay, so you want to find what are the issues in the course of farming. You just read the abstract of literature review. You will find, oh, the issues is there. How is it being controlled? What factors? Normally, from an abstract, you will find a lot of information from there. You do not have to read the whole paper, the whole thesis. You just read the abstract. You will find the answers for all your question. Okay, and then the step number 3, writing down the problem statement. Select one narrowly defined problem. Ask relevant question that will help answer the problem. Example, so relating to the previous scenario just now, so the research problem, now the problem statement, are government agriculture inputs price policies effective? Does level of training by farmers affect cost of farming? What is the role of agriculture institutions? So example of a narrowly defined problem. The strategy, how to find the sources, basically read several articles on the narrower focus. Probably instead of reading the literature review or just reading the abstract, you may look into the methodology. The methodology that being stated in the paper that might be used in your project. Later we will look at the more example. So this is step number 3. And then research design, write a problem statement consisting of several sentences that briefly frame the issues to be investigated. So from step number 3 just now, okay, you want to combine maybe the sentences, or you try to write several sentences that try to focus on the issues to be investigated and indicate the significance of the question and includes a declaration of what you will do, right? For example, farming costs are escalating. Okay, so because our topic just now is about cost of farming, farmers are unable to buy inputs. Many people have proposed pro-farmer policies. Among the potential solutions are price subsidies. Okay, question exists regarding the impact of price subsidies. So this study will what? So basically these are several sentences. Sentence number 1, sentence number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. So 5 sentences that trying to lead into the problem statement. Okay, so this study will investigate further on certain things. So you can continue that for your complete problem statement. So the strategies or the sources, incorporate readings to date to determine this working statement. Okay, of course, as your work progresses, you may need to modify it. So don't worry if your first round of problem statement is not the final problem statement. It can be evolved. Even after you have presented your final thesis, your problem statement may be further refined, or the examiner said your problem statement is not clearly stated because they want to relate back to your methodology, they want to relate back to your results and the findings. So maybe the problem statement need to be revisited and retuned to suit the overall picture. Of course, if it is totally wrong, then everything will collapse. If it is still in the subject matter, okay, or it is related to the subject under study, the problem, the achievement, and the methodology, the spam, okay, it is still be accepted. Maybe there are minor correction. If it is totally wrong, so you will be having trouble to redo your thesis. Okay, I hope not. And then research design, the last step is basically select possible research design. Example, research design will depend upon the discipline and actual statement of the problem. It should be developed in consultation with your supervisors. You read more focus and specialized article, maybe focusing on the results paper rather than literature review paper. Right? By reading a results paper related to the problem that you are looking for, of course, sometimes it's very difficult because when you read certain papers, it is already be specific to certain application. Maybe you said, oh, my application is different, okay? But the other paper are just focusing on other application, but you can actually relate the results, even though it is not exactly the same. If it is exactly the same, you are very lucky. Right. And then the research proposal, the last one, prepare a research proposal after literature review, methodology selection, write the complete research proposal. Okay, another template. That is the first way of doing a problem statement. And then now let us go for another method. Of course, as I said, there are many strategies, but so I just try to explain to you which one may be suitable. Okay, but I give you another example here. Start with the general problem, identifying the need for the study. Okay, the problem of this study is then what? And then state the specific problem proposed for research. You may use citation, okay? You may use facts, usually number, to make it clear to the reader. For example, like 30% of farms have been affected by the Napier grass disease. So by saying that, you will already say that, oh, there are problems about Napier grass. You're talking about Napier grass. Yeah, and then there are disease, okay, related to Napier grass. So 30% is huge. So meaning that there is a problem there, right? Or introductory words describing methodology approach, like a research design are given and appropriate to the specific proposal problem. For example, like this qualitative study will explore what, or this quantitative study will examine what. So maybe it's not clear there. Maybe later when we have a good example, we can further explain. Like the item number 4 here. General population group of proposed study is identified. Small-scale farmers in affected locations will be surveyed to determine. So you will already identifying a group of targeted samples, right? So that you would like to further investigate, because you are putting the scope. You are already putting this is the boundary of my research. Okay. Let us look at an example of a qualitative problem statement. Okay. From here, probably you can see much more clearly in terms of, maybe I just use a different color pen. The brain drain, okay, in Malaysia is increasing. Okay, that's the first statement. This is general. This is general problem. Why is it general? Because yes, it's just a statement there. Brain drain in Malaysia is decreasing. Okay, so and then furthermore, every year about 50 professionals migrate abroad due to unsatisfactory working conditions. So by having the second statement, you are already having a specific problems, right? With what? With numbers and supported with citation, right? Every year, 50 professional migrate. Okay, maybe you can also put up from the national survey. Every year, about 50 professional migrate abroad. So that's it, an issue, And then further statement: this brain drain is different from previous shortages because it involves not only fresh graduate but also seasoned professionals. So this is a code just to strengthen the earlier. This is like a code that strengthen the earlier statement. Okay, so this crisis in the professional industry requires innovative solution, right? So you are now trying to say that okay, there are issues here, issues issues already highlighted in the first paragraph, and then in the following paragraph you are saying that this crisis in the professional industry requires innovative solutions. So you are saying that there's a way of trying to solve it, and one solution may be a less structured leadership style such as steward leadership. Okay, so this qualitative case, a description of the study type, will explore perception of professionals in Malaysia. Right, you are putting the scope, right, the population being studied about steward leadership as a strategy to alleviate or reduce factors contributing to the brain drain among professionals in the Klang Valley region, right? So you are zooming in into the Klang Valley region, geographical location of the study. The data to be gathered in this study may provide leaders with information relating to how they may address or mitigate factors contributing to the current brain drain. So basically you can see here, okay, there's a problem, general problem, and then there's a specific problem, and then there's a code, there's a two code over there, code number 1 and code number 2, that is basically strengthening the issues, because people will say, oh, Prof. Rahim, the problem is 2 paragraph. It's not. The problem is this. The problem is basically here, from here, okay, until here only. Right. This is actually the problem statement. Okay. So this is the problem statement. I hope it is clear for you. Um, the first one is just general problem, and then the second one is the problem statement. Sentence number 3, sentence number 4, number 5 is just a supporting quotation or supporting facts saying that yes, it is a real problem. Okay, and then you are now then putting the study type, the methodology. Okay, this is the method, right? And then you are putting the population being studied. Okay, the group of people, the samples, professional in Malaysia, as well as geographical location of the study in Klang Valley, right? And then you will say that data to be gathered may provide. So these are basically the uh, the reason why the problem is need to be solved, because you want to address and mitigate factors. Basically, you want to reduce the issues on brain drain. So this is basically the outcome, the outcome that can be done if the issues, the problem on brain drain being solved. Okay, so those are the elements of the. This is just one example how you write a problem statement. So a problem statement is it is a problem, one sentence which is here, and it is being supported by the criteria, the elements. You have the 3 elements: the problem, the method, and the what is the other thing just now. So the 3 things that been highlighted earlier. Okay, let us look at the quantitative problem. Just now, qualitative problem. Another example, identify. Yes, yes,
May I interrupt to ask question?
yes, you may.
The previous slide.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. this the part where population is being studied, that
Okay.
part, is it closely related to the research title about steward leadership as a strategy? So is our title has to be also described here? Looks like it.
No.
No.
The title, the general title. Of course, if you want to put all the elements here, right? The problem in the title is just a simple problem, meaning that it is being simplified. Where problem statement is basically elaborating the simplified problem that already being highlighted in the title. Okay, meaning that
Okay.
I think in the title, right, you have the sorry, let me just go back. In the title, you have the S, you have the P, you have the A, you have the M, right? So
Yes.
this P is the simplified problem, okay, where you then in this particular case, the problem here is brain drain. Okay, brain drain. We in the title we don't really specify. Is it professional? Involve professional? Involve geographical location? So in the general title, maybe it is the title in this particular case. Maybe it is brain drain in Malaysia. That is the title of the study, and then the project title, qualitative study on the brain drain of professionals in Klang Valley. So you may have those sentence as the general, sorry, the project title. For a paper title, it is more specific, maybe. Okay, so you may have some elements of the problem, but you do not have to write a very long title, 3 line of titles. It has to be simplified. Okay, because there are numbers of characters, there are numbers in UPM we also count how many words that you use for your title. It cannot be too long. Is that okay, Papati?
Yes, got it.
Okay, so we'll look into more detail of your title later on. Okay, now is there any other question from other students? Okay, shall we just continue first? For the quantitative problem statement. So basically over here, you want to, the example here given here, identity fraud. The issue is identity fraud is one of the fastest growing crimes in America. So there's a quotation from a citation, a paper, Adams 2002. In 2003, at least 7 million Americans were victims of identity fraud. That's a huge number, An increase of 79% from 2002. Okay, it's reported by another article there. General problem supported by literature, right? So you can see here the 2 lines, 2 sentences being spelled out in the first paragraph, basically stating the general problem. It is supported by facts from literature. Okay, and then we continue. The nation system of personal identification and verification failed to stop the fraudulent identification activities. Driver licenses can still be obtained or made fraudulently and still used as a de facto form of identification. So this is also being quoted from another researcher, and just to support that there is an issue of identity fraud. Okay, maybe I use this case. So there's the issue here is identity fraud. Okay, and then the purpose of the research study will be to examine the motivational factors necessary for public to use voluntary new biometric identity card as a more reliable and secure means of preventing identity fraud. Okay, so to fulfill this purpose, a quantitative research study will survey students, faculty, administrative personnel, and employees of 2 community colleges in Los Angeles County, California. So now, where is the problem? The general problem here, okay, basically is the identity fraud. It is the way it's being written. It is supported by the facts from the literature. Okay, there are 3 literature being given there, and this is the source of the problem. So from what being reported by in 2003, 2002, and 2004, right? And you then come out with a study, okay, the research study, okay, basically to examine the motivational factors. So because to support your proposed idea where you want to use voluntary new biometric identity card. Okay, so this is you want to support your proposal that that say that okay, there are issues earlier, right? And then which you also put the advantages of your proposal. Okay, and then you also highlight the methodology here. Okay, type of study, right? And then the geographical location, basically the scope, SCOPE, yes, scope of the um, study. So basically, this 2 paragraph is enough to say that this is the problem statement. What problem is it? It is about general problem is about identity fraud and how is it being done. Basically, the problem is basically you want to propose a new new biometric identity card. So this is the we can say the specific problem. Specific problem is this one, the new biometric identity card, because you want to propose a new thing, right? And it has to be supported by the earlier facts. All right. Okay. Right. So I would like to open for Q&A.
Prof. Hi.
Yes, Hanafi.
How come propose the identifying card is a problem? How come?
Okay.
I mean, okay, go. Thanks.
Okay, right. So it is actually, for example, okay, let me just give another scenario. Okay, um, um, let's say there are people already doing solution. For example, like now we have biofuel. Biofuel. Maybe identity card. Maybe I don't understand. For biofuel, we have palm oil biofuel. We have maybe Jatropa biofuel. There are many sources of biofuel. Okay, so and it's already being used in the automotive or in cars or in aeroplane, but there's no problem over there. But then you want to propose a new combination, a new blend of fuel, okay, by saying that I want to introduce maybe coconut oil as a source of biofuel for the jet, for the aircraft. There's no issue. Currently, they are already using other source of biofuel, but now you are saying that I want to introduce another source of fuel because nobody use it. Similarly, with the case just now, the researcher is trying to say that I have a solution that to solve the problem of identity fraud. Maybe there are other researchers saying that biometric card is not the right solution. So So introducing new things also actually can act as a problem statement. It sounds that it's not no problem. It's just it is trying to have a new approach. Okay, so that is also considered as a problem statement. A problem statement to introduce new things. Okay, can you get it, Anafi?
Okay, but what is the solution for it? I mean, if the cut success, is it the solution? Oh, okay, okay.
You get okay. So if the biometric card, the new solution is better, can stop the general problem is identity fraud, right? Okay, so that's the general problem, and the researcher is trying to propose a new uh, card, biometric card. Okay, maybe it is using fingerprint biometric, or eye scanner or whatever. Okay, basically the to solve the issue, the main issue. Okay, the main issue is on the identity fraud. So you have to look it in such a way that by proposing this solution is actually solving the original problem, the general problem just now. Yes, Anas.
Okay. Can I further ask?
Yeah.
So is the system under study is identity fraud or the biometric card?
Okay, very good. So the system under study over here, um, of course, the problem is identity fraud, right? The problem, the system under study probably the new technique to identify or to resolve the issue. System under study over here because there's no title there. So it's just the problem statement. Okay, of course the problem maybe in the problem general title is about identity fraud issues in America. Right? So basically the system under study. Okay, that let us try to investigate further. So basically, for me, the system under study is the identity. Okay, this identity is the system under study. Okay, fraud, identity fraud. This is the problem. If we want to write the general title, maybe the general title is about identity fraud cases in America. So fraud is the problem, identity is the system under study. And that would be the case for the general title. So for the project title, probably is about quantitative study or a quantitative study on new biometric identity card to solve identity fraud or whatever. So it can be that way. So or other title would be suitable. That is my guess in terms of the example that being given over here. All right. So the fraud itself is the problem. The identity is the system that is being investigated.
To add further to Anna's question, general title, basically we should have system under study and problem statement.
And
I mean,
problem,
like, should
problem, just a problem, not the problem statement.
Yes.
So
okay.
in a general title, it's just a simple, maybe 4 or 5 words.
Yes.
Having the system under study, having the problem. There are the 2 elements. Of course, we have 4. We have the achievement and the methodology. So, but if you have the 2 only, it's good enough for general title. But for the project title, I would like to see at least 3 or maximum, of course, all 4. If for the paper title, you should have all the 4. If you refer back to my earlier slide on the J chart, okay, the title, right? There are example of project title having 3 elements, only SP, maybe SPM or SPA. Okay? So, but most of the engineering or sciences, they have the methodology, the numerical study or experimental investigation, or if you are doing both, you just say detailed study on what, or conceptual design on something system. Okay, so you may, but you must have the system understudy. Don't leave system understudy behind. You must have the system understudy in the title.
I think probably I have to go specific. When I'm doing this research study about this vertical farming, there's a lot of methods like hydroponic, aquaponic, bioponic, and so on. But research papers, let's say it only talks about these 4 methods. But when it comes to websites and YouTubes, there's so many other methods has been developed.
Yeah.
They call it like hybrid hydroponic. They call it cracking method. So what is the where do we stop? Like, do we just elaborate up to what the research papers have done? I mean, research studies like articles done, or do we also include what's in the market too?
Okay, you mean the types of vertical farming, right?
Yes.
Okay, so of course, the first source of information is from the academic papers, right? Academic papers may be only identifying or being given classification in for vertical farming. Maybe there are 3 or 4, right? But suddenly, when you look at the market, there are there are another 2 products, but not reported in the literature review, academic papers. So that source from the market is also need to be considered, right? Of course, from the business perspective, some of the business owner, they just want quick wins. They don't even bother to write a report or papers to be classified. That is academic matters. There's a role of the academics to classify it. But in order for you to have a full classification of the types, you need to also include from other than the academic literature. Meaning that in your reporting, in your write-up, you may explain that these researchers reported there are 4 classification. Meanwhile, there are another 2 classification being identified in the market, such as this and this. So that explain your horizontal types, meaning that you don't leave it behind. But and at the end of the day, you can say that, oh, you assume there's no more. You assume you can also neglect it, but later people will say, hey, there are a lot of when we just Google it, suddenly we have a dozen of types. Suddenly you only report 4 because you say that's the only available in the academic literature. The rest are not. The rest are maybe you found it in Google, maybe in Shopee. In Shopee, there are vertical garden being sold there. So maybe there is there. We never know. Or in pattern or in magazine. So it has to be included. I suggest you don't avoid it. You have to include it and then put it in the explanation.
Okay, Doctor, I have another question.
Yes, Vishna.
If let's say we propose certain thing at the beginning, and then towards the study, maybe during the methodology, and we find that the result is not as what expected.
Okay.
So should we do another research, another search, or is it
Okay.
just stop there and I put conclusion as it is not successful as expected? Can it be that way?
Okay, I can understand. Yeah. Let me just maybe reword it in other in different ways. Basically, let's say you have done your problem statement, you have done your literature review, even having your title. After second semester in a part B, suddenly you find out that your research, your results is gearing towards a different direction.
Yeah.
You're finding your outcome is different from what you have planned earlier.
Yes.
As I said in our previous lecture, that you can revisit the K chart, you can revisit the general title, the project title, even the problem statement that we are discussing today. It can be revisit and retuned. Okay, example I've given just now, when a PhD student at the end, after the Viva, his problem statement has to be refined. Maybe the problem statement being crafted at the early stage of the study. After 3 or 4 years, the result is already different. It is being swing to the other side, and he has to rewrite the problem statement to suit the result. Okay, so probably the hypothesis also is already totally upside down. Okay, it can happen that way, meaning that because that is research. That's why if you still remember the spiral of knowledge, right? So you don't, it is once you get to a stage, you will find more question, and then you further investigate, and then you find more question and further continue. Of course, the loop will stop somewhere, because you, for your master innovation, you have 2 semester only, right? We will stop you. Okay, Vishna is done. You have to write your thesis. You cannot continue to further search. You can do that for your PhD later on. Not for your master. This is enough. So I've done that a few times with my master, my PhD student, because they don't satisfy with what they found. I said, no, this is enough. You just remove this result, just write this. So there are cases like that. So sometimes we just remove the whole chunk of simulation, which is not needed, and we just focus on the findings that are relevant, that can be suitable for submission of a master or PhD thesis. So nothing perfect. Of course, this is the way research. It's not just search; it's research. You do it again and again and again.
Yes. So I believe that is where the corrections come in.
Yes.
Mm.
So even when you discuss with your supervisor, suddenly your supervisor say this today. Next week, when you come back after the correction, your supervisor will say, no, we go back to the old one. It happened to me when I did my PhD. So we have to be patient. So because sometimes, because supervisors are not angels, so they are also human beings. So sometimes they advise you something that they already say that is wrong before. So it's okay you have to accept it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Prof.
You know it. Okay.
Prof,
Yes, Ayu.
I want to ask something. Okay, maybe a bit from our topics. So to produce or to come out the problem statement, and then later on we must come out with the solution, right? So the problem statement that we find out, example like from observation and studies from the papers or journal or something like that.
Yep.
So there is some percentage to make a conclusion that our product must be some percentage to novelty from others. There is some percentage, example like your product must be 60% different from this paper. Your product must be 90% different from this student punya, what do you call it, paper lah macam tu. So they have some limitation, or is it depend on us? As long as we have some proven, we already study, they know people already produce this one, they know people already got this problem before. Is it they have some limitation, Prof?
Okay, I just answer it very general in terms of the expectation from, especially for master research. Basically, if you can reproduce things, right? For example, other people has done the experiment and you redo the experiment. Okay, that's also accepted for a master level, right? So of course you don't want to do that. Okay? Other people goreng pisang, you also goreng pisang. Okay, what's new? You just said about what are the so you may put goreng pisang, you, and then after that you put cheese on it, right? So it's a goreng pisang cheese. Okay, and then the examiner said, oh, not enough, not novel enough, not good enough. Instead of just put cheese, you put chocolate on it, more calorie. Right? So goreng pisang, cheese and chocolate. So, and then at the same time, you may want to put other things. So those additional accessories, the original thing is still goreng pisang. It's a banana fritter to Martin and Shiyu. I think both of them already, they are already living in Malaysia for more than 2 semesters now. They know about it. So it's still goreng pisang, right? But you add on things. You add on the what just now, the cheese. You put the chocolate, and so it become a new thing. This is just a simple analogy lah, and meaning that it doesn't have to be totally new. You totally new thing like doing a PhD. You have to not saying that. You want to, the outcome is still banana fritter, goreng pisang, but an innovative way of producing goreng pisang that is low calorie. It tastes like a cheese and a chocolate and a banana, but it doesn't have that. So it's a totally new thing. You eat, it is not fried, for example. It is whatever. So that is a PhD. But for master level, as long as you add on new things, even a small thing, but it is significant, is good enough. So, for example, do you need another analogy? Is it clear? Are you?
Yes, Prof. Yeah.
Okay. Dah rasa lapar, Okay. The question, right?
Prof, this is about citation.
Citation. Yes.
The preferable way of writing the citation, is it there's different way of like acceptable way of writing citation, like when you do the literature review, you put name and the year, or you can just put numbers, so then refer to the appendix. How is it preferred?
Okay, thank you for the question, Papati. When you there are many styles, but normally for a thesis, for dissertation, you I would prefer. This is my own preferences, also preferences by the graduate school. You have to use the Harvard style, meaning that you have your author, year. But for certain publication, for journal, for conference papers, normally they have the numbering system. So 1, 2, 3, so forth, and so on. So you cannot mix the referencing style in a thesis. If you are using the numbering, just use the numbering from the beginning. But I would like to suggest for your exercise for this dissertation, you must use the author year style. Okay, but for our assignment later on, I will provide you with the referencing style for the journal that we want to submit. Okay, I can't remember. I think it is numbering, because journal paper normally it is numbering. So it's easier to track and so on. But for the purpose of a thesis, a dissertation, it is normally it is being used as the author year style. Okay, you already putting the references, Papati? Nak siap dah.
I'm afraid I will miss out as I read. I miss out then I have to go back again and then see, okay, where did I refer this? So I'm like jotting down.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend. Hope that our PKP will end very soon, 6th of December. Right, thank you. Okay, stay safe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, bye-bye.